Hi everybody, it's Andy and welcome again to my office in Modesto, California. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in California as well as New York. Unlike some of my other videos, however, where I go over like abstract kind of legal concepts, I guess, status only divorce, proof of service, that type of stuff. In this video, I'm going to go over something a little more practical. So, I recently had to buy a used car. I've done that several times in my life, been very lucky that all the cars that I bought have worked out for me. I've never actually had to sell a used car, but in buying used cars, you obviously have to deal with the seller. So I've encountered this situation a couple times. People have asked me this question before from the perspective of a person who's selling a used car. So they go, Andy, hey, I put my car on Craigslist or eBay, the newspaper, whatever, and I found this buyer. He's really cool. He came over, got the inspection done. He did the smog, everything's cool. And he came over, he paid me, I signed the title, gave him the key, and he took possession of the car and everything's fine. But what happens if he gets a ticket? Like, let's say he gets a parking ticket, or he crosses a bridge without paying a toll before he registers the car into his name. So as far as the DMV is concerned, the Department of Motor Vehicles in California, they still think that I own the car when in reality I've sold the car to somebody else. So this ticket that occurred is not my responsibility, it's actually this guy's responsibility, the buyer's responsibility. So how do I, as a seller, protect myself and not have to be responsible for tickets that the buyer incurs? So it's a very reasonable kind of prudent thing to think about. Unfortunately, however, not everyone kind of thinks in this way. People are more trusting by human nature than I guess they probably should be, if that's not too cynical of a thing to say. But as a seller, a seller of a used car really should be concerned like, hey, how do I protect myself? So the answer to the question of how to protect yourself is there is indeed a form that you need to fill out as a seller, and you need to submit it to the Department of Motor Vehicles in California in order to tell them and to tell the state, I guess, that this particular vehicle, as of this date, is no longer mine. After this date, this vehicle with this VIN number, this mileage, this license plate doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to this other guy, the guy who bought it from me. And anything that happens, like tickets, running red lights, all that stuff, it's not my responsibility. You guys should go after this guy, the guy who bought the car from me. So the form you need to fill out is called a Notice of Release of Liability, or an NRL form. So there are a couple ways to do the NRL form. The first way, which is very convenient, but I think probably not a lot of people do it this way. Number one is you can actually submit the entire form online, which is what I did. And I'm going to go ahead and link the website to do the NRL form down below. So if you're technologically inclined, go ahead and do it online. It's actually fairly easy. So number two, obviously, is that you can actually download the PDF form the PDF version, of the NRL form, and that's going to be available at that same link that I'm going to put down below. So once you fill out the NRL form, you mail it in or you click submit. That's basically the end of the process. Number three, which is probably the more kind of common way that most people do it, they can go to a Department of Motor Vehicles office and get the form, fill it out, sign it, submit it right there. Whatever way that you do it, of the three that I mentioned, the important thing is that you need to fill out the NRL form within 5 calendar days. 5 calendar days of the sale, I guess, of giving the car to the buyer, and in that case, your liability, I guess, is cut off. You're no longer responsible for the car. So if you're interested, after kind of that big kind of long explanation, the statute involved here is actually California Vehicle Code section 5900A, 5900A, and that just basically goes over the form that you need to fill out, the 5 calendar days within which you need to fill it out, in order to tell the state of California that, hey, this vehicle is no longer mine. It actually belongs to this other guy. If there are any tickets, red light, violations, etc., go after this guy, not me, because it's not my responsibility anymore. So, kind of a long answer, but if you guys have ever wondered what the law is on it, California Vehicle Code section 5900A. And if you are in a position where you're trying to sell a used car, best to remember the Notice of Release of Liability form, regardless of which of the 3 ways that I mentioned, you should submit the form. Okay? So hopefully that helps, and go ahead and leave me a comment, click subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks.